here. Favorite time of the week now, at least it's starting to begin that, or to be mine now. Welcome to another episode, live stream here, the Murder Podcast Show. I'm your host, as always, Tim, and of course, alongside of me, Criminology Chris.
Good evening, everybody.
And Classroom Jackie.
What's up?
So, how was your guys this week? Everybody have a pretty good week?
Busy.
Busy is what they always say. Yeah, the joys of adulting. So, well, once again, we appreciate everybody for being here. Looks like our numbers are growing. Subscribers have grown. Views and likes and shares have grown over the week too, which is great. So we greatly appreciate that. You guys haven't yet, head over to all of our social medias. We are on just about everything, I think. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube channel here too. If you don't already subscribe to it, please do. It looks like we jumped up a couple more, so we're at 27. That's awesome. And as well, when you do follow our pages, you will see throughout the weeks. Classroom Jackie always posts throughout the weeks, keep everybody up to date on what our next show is going to be and information, some different things she'll post from different scenes depending on what we talk about. So that is always greatly appreciated. So tonight we are going to be covering, which he's very well known, I think one of everybody's favorites, I know as messed up as that sounds, favorite to kind of talk about the wonderful and fantastic, amazing Bachelor, Jeffrey Dahmer. So, I mean, what more can you say there? Yeah. Well, he was a bachelor, but I don't think he had too many relationships. But so,
Not consensual.
not consensual.
Very drugged.
We're 7:06 already, and he's already fired off the first shot. So that's what it's all about there. So kind of jumping in here a little bit, starting off Dahmer's childhood, beginning years here. Dahmer was born May 21st, 1960, which is crazy. My birthday's May 28th, so Geminis, I guess we are. Yeah, I know. Classroom Jackie's looking over here. I know. Geminis, everybody thinks it. I'm
Something
not,
we
though.
should know over here?
Yeah. I had a consensual relationship with him. I'm sorry. And then passed away November 28th, 1994. So, shoot, I was only a couple years old then.
I was 5.
Yeah, I would have been around the same, 5 or 6.
I was in 4th grade.
He was in, yeah. Chris was in 4th grade.
Old man in the room.
You're aging yourself right there.
Yeah. We also want to give a quick shout out to probably one of our biggest top fans here, who is always here every week. He's always supporting us, sharing this show on his Facebook. So we want to give an important shout out to David. He is the man, the myth, and the legend. So thank you, Trash Can, for that.
It's Garbage Man.
Garbage Man.
We love you. We promise we love you.
7 minutes in and shots fired from me. Anyway, so Ohio is where Dahmer was born and is from.
He wasn't born in Ohio.
He wasn't born in Ohio. 7:08 and another shot fired. He was not born in Ohio, but he did live with his parents in Ohio. So rephrase that. And actually, his parents' house is probably, what's that, maybe like 20 minutes from here?
Oh, yeah, probably 20 years.
Yeah. Bath, Ohio is where his parents are. I've been by it a few times. I'm sure you guys have been by it too. Supposedly that was where the remains. But we'll get there. I don't want to jump too far ahead yet. So anyways, he was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's right. The first of 2 sons, Lionel Herbert Dahmer and a Marquette University chemistry student, and later research chemist and Joyce Dahmer. So he had a sister. Okay.
No,
that was his mom.
Yeah. Joyce and Lionel were his parents.
His brother's name was Henry.
Henry, yes. I'm going to let them do this here in a minute because I'm supposedly just butchering this, so I apologize. Woke up from a nap a while ago, so I'm gonna use that. Not enough, coffee yet.
Yeah, we're all straight from naps.
Yeah, that's
so.
what happens when you're busy. So,
Brains need a little bit to wake up.
I'll kind of let Classroom Jackie, if you kind of want to jump in and kind of start with childhood, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, no problem. So, like you said, he was born to Lionel and Joyce Annette Dahmer on May 21st, 1960, the oldest of two kids. Lionel was a chemistry student, later chemist. His mom was a telecast and machine instructor. So, how to type on typewriters, things like those, she taught that.
Yeah, teachers for that.
Yeah, not like now, everybody just seems to know.
Yeah, well, speech to text.
Yeah.
Kind of take it.
Some sources have been reported to say that Dahmer was deprived of attention as an infant, while others say that his parents absolutely loved and adored him and doted on him for everything. As Dahmer entered first grade, growing up through his toddler life, infant life, parents loved him or hated him. Sources can't figure that part out.
One or the other.
Yeah, love-hate relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe both.
As Dahmer was entering first grade, Lionel's studies kept him away from home most of the time. When he was home, his wife was usually a huge hypochondriac and suffered from depression, demanded constant attention and spent an increasing amount of time in bed. On one occasion, when he came home from classes and spent time at home, his wife did try to kill herself by taking an overdose of sleep. That caused a lot of tension within the family, and from that early age, it made him unsure of the solidarity of the family, recalling extreme tension and numerous arguments between his parents during those years. By the time he hit 4, he was mostly an energetic and happy kid despite everything going on. But before his 4th birthday, he had a double hernia surgery that ended up changing his whole personality.
How do you have double hernia surgery?
Yeah, really. Jeez.
You can be born with one,
Ah.
and it just progressively gets worse. And being active doesn't help. Like being a toddler doesn't help with that.
Well, I'm sure it probably affects growth.
Yeah.
Getting bigger.
At elementary school, Dahmer was regarded as quiet and timid. One of his teachers recalled that she detected early signs of abandonment due to his father's absence and mother's illnesses. The symptoms only increased when his mother became pregnant with their second child. In October 1966, the family moved to Doylestown, Ohio, where Joyce gave birth in December. Dahmer was allowed to name his baby brother, and he chose the name, David. I thought it was Henry.
No, Henry was the brother of.
Oh, I'm confusing them. So both of them have younger brothers.
How far is Doylestown from where we are again? I forget.
It's the same thing, probably about a half an hour.
Is it? Okay.
Directly east. It's over by Barberton.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I don't really go over that way that much, so.
Yeah. Well, small town. One stop.
That same year, Lionel ended up earning his degree and started working as an analytical chemist in nearby Akron. From early years, Dahmer manifested an interest in dead animals. His fascination may have began when, at the age of 4, he saw his dad removing bones from underneath the family home. He said Dahmer's father recalled him being oddly thrilled by the bones and the noise that they made, and calling them his fiddlesticks. Like those instruments, like the pieces of wood that kids used to rub together.
Oh, I get it. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot about those. Of course, I never really played with them that much. That wasn't really
Maybe they changed to Lincoln.
Yeah,
Lincoln Logs.
Loved Lincoln Logs.
Were great. Oh my gosh, you could get me on a whole podcast show about Lincoln Logs.
Those are still around. I'd build them right now.
I used to have the big metal tin that had them all.
Same.
And then they had like the rooftops and stuff, and you could build the houses. I had those for years, and I threw them out because when I moved out of my parents, that was when I tossed them. I still had them. I'm like, what am I hanging on to these for? Is this for when I get drunk and I want to play like cars and trucks?
We still have some at my dad's house. We have a whole tin of them.
David, you have a mission. Bring Lincoln Logs next time you come by. We're playing Lincoln Logs.
We used to
discussion.
see how tall we could stack the towers and then kick them over. Just
Oh,
my
yeah.
sister and I.
Yeah, that's great. So, anyways, now that we're comparing our Lincoln Logs to human bones,
Yeah, we've gone down.
A dark road. But the same year, the Fiddlesticks, he occasionally would keep searching around the family's home for additional bones and explored the bodies of live animals to discover where bones were located. So, like cats that would come by and lay down that were strays and be pet, he would feel where everything was on the animals, like where the spine, the ribs, all of those bone wise. In May of 1968, the family ended up moving to Bath Township, Summit County, Ohio. This address was the third in 2 years, the sixth why the Dahmers had been married. The home stood in 1.5 acres of woodland with a small hut, a short walk from the house where Dahmer began collecting large insects and the skeletons of small animals, such as chipmunks and squirrels. Some of these were preserved in jars of formaldehyde and stored within the hut.
so the hut, was that like where he kept a lot of this, or?
It was like a shed. So he would, from what I found, he would go in there and find jars and like the dead animals and things like those and keep the bones,
Oh,
put them in
okay.
formaldehyde.
Yeah, preserve them and stuff in there. Okay, so it's like a shed. I couldn't remember because when they had that Dahmer show, it was like the garage is where I think he did a lot of that in the show. So it's all different, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah,
kind of
they-
has their different views.
Yeah,
So
they're different things.
it's a she shed.
She
That's what
shed.
it was. Dahmer's she shed.
His
Wow.
his bone cave.
Yeah, the bone cave.
2 years later, during a chicken dinner, a child dinner.
Yeah.
You-
Freudian slip.
Isn't that what's great about the show? Is you can tell, folks, it's not a rehearsed show. This is great.
Yeah, this is
The child dinner. Wow, that's
During a chicken dinner, Dahmer asked his father what would happen if the bones were placed in bleach. His father was extremely pleased by what he believed was his son's scientific curiosity. He demonstrated how to safely bleach and preserve the animal bones. Dahmer ended up using those techniques to preserve the bones when he would collect them and figuring out how to formaldehyde and keep them from dying and disintegrating and everything like that.
okay.
He also began collecting dead animals, including roadkill, which he would dissect and bury beside the hut. Occasionally, the skulls would be placed atop a makeshift crosses to mark where they were.
You know, not to stop you for a minute, but I look at his high school Revere picture
Oh my
from
gosh.
1978, and I don't know why, but it's like the trend now is everybody's getting the glasses like his. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
I work with some people like that, and it's like I can't help but not call them, Dahmer, because it's like, why are these giant ass glasses coming back now? I don't get that. It's like everything else in life. We went from big things like phones to small, and now we're going back to giant again. We're going backwards in time.
It's like everything from the 80s and 90s is just becoming extremely popular again.
Yeah. So, Chris, I'd like it if you get a set of his glasses.
Oh, nice pair of like aviator size, like thick rim.
Aviator. I'll be like, is Chris landing a plane outside? What's he doing?
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, Jackie. Go ahead.
According to one of his friends that he had, Dahmer explained that he was curious as to how animals fit together. In one instance in 1975, he decapitated the carcass of a dog before nailing the body to a tree and impaling the skull upon a stick in the woodland behind his house. I am going to say this now. Part of this is going to get exceptionally graphic. Major trigger warning if you have a queasy stomach, you don't want to listen to this, you don't like animal death, you don't like anything like that, it is not the time to keep.
Yeah. Trigger warning. I'm going to get a sound clip that plays that when it's time. Trigger warning.
We got to make it spooky, though.
Trigger warning. That wasn't spooky. I don't know what that was. Anyways, go ahead. Yeah.
This time, he would say that this is a prank. He later invited friends over to view his displays and claiming he had discovered the remains by chance. That same year, Lionel taught his son how to preserve animal bones. Joyce began increasing her daily consumption of her medications. I'm not going to say the name of it. We're just going to leave it where it is.
Okay.
It's a bunch of sleeping pills and other pills. This further increased her emotional distance from her husband and her children. As his freshman year at Revere High School, Dahmer was seen as an outcast, but some of his teachers said that he was extremely polite and highly intelligent, and earned not only average grades but above average. He was also known as a class clown.
That's crazy. I share that with them too. I was a class clown in school. Wow, Gemini and class clown. Okay.
That's two.
Yeah, that's two.
How can you not have friends?
Yeah, I know. I mean, not bad. I mean, stud right there, you
Yeah.
know?
He also had a severe alcohol problem at the age of 14.
Well,
There's three. Not at 14, though, for me.
He was caught drinking in class by one of his classmates when he was found out to be drinking scotch in his morning history class. When the classmate asked him why he was doing it, he said it was his medicine.
why would you drink scotch? Why would we pick a scotch? I mean, you can smell that 20 feet away. I mean, that's like, oh,
You got so many choices here.
yeah.
Why
Like,
scotch?
how about
Right?
vodka? Like, you
Yeah.
can hide it.
It looks like water.
Yeah, right. I mean, well, hey, sorry, you smell like peat moss.
Yeah. Okay, I get the water thing, true, and it's not like today where we have like all these fancy mugs and stuff we can hide it in now, so I get that.
Right. During the time with his alcoholism, he would like to stage pranks, which named him that class clown. He would come up saying that acting like he was having epileptic seizures. I can't say that word.
Epileptic.
Thank you.
Thank you, criminology, Chris.
Thanch you, criminology.
Yeah, I'll be here all week.
Seizures or cerebral palsy at the school and local stores. Occasionally, Dahmer would perform these antics to earn money to purchase alcohol. This would become known as doing a Dahmer, when anybody who actually had epilepsy or cerebral palsy had their
Yeah, I've
tics.
heard that in the different shows and stuff. Okay, all right. Doing it. Yeah, wow. Quite a thing to get, famous for with a saying.
When he reached puberty, Dahmer discovered he was gay. He did not tell his parents. In the early years, he did have a brief relationship with another teenage boy, but he swears he never had intercourse. By Dahmer's admission, he had began fantasizing about dominating and controlling a completely submissive male partner in his early teens. He also had masturbatory fantasies to these, but only about the chest and torso. No other body parts, just the chest and torso.
Just the chest and torso. That's okay. To each his their own, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of random, but
Like those.
yeah, that's true. Everybody's got their own little
Our feet.
fetish. We are not going into a foot fetish deal in this show. I will not.
Redirect.
Yeah, we are redirecting away.
Back to the story. When he was 16, he ended up having conceived a fantasy of rendering unconscious one particular male jogger that he found exceptionally attractive. He then wanted to make sexual use of his body. On one occasion, he had concealed himself in some bushes with a baseball bat to lie in wait. The jogger ended up not passing by, so completely avoided that. Kudos to the jogger for not going that
yeah.
day. Way to go.
Something was, talking to him.
Way to not be healthy for a day.
Yeah, right. See, this is why I don't jog. This is why I get fat. Right here. That's it.
You're harder to steal.
Yeah, we're our safe
Harder to
space.
steal. Yeah, I'm in the safe space. Yeah. That's my no-no zone.
Don't touch me there. It's my no-no square.
We do not have scotch in our coffee, FYI.
No.
By 1977, Dahmer's grades had declined so badly that his parents had hired a private tutor, but had no success with that. The same year, in an attempt to save their marriage from all of the fighting and bickering, they attempted to go to couples counseling. They continued to quarrel frequently, and then Lionel discovered Joyce had cheated on him. That happened in September of 1997. They decided to get a divorce, but told the kids it was amicable, so that they were just breaking up and splitting up because they knew it wasn't right.
Okay.
Joyce became increasingly bitter and acrimonious, and Lionel ended up moving out in early 78. By May of 78, Dahmer graduated from high school at Revere. That spring, Joyce moved out of the house without telling Lionel and against the court order. So Dahmer Jeffrey ended up being in the house by himself.
Okay. Kind of what we've been learning is that's kind of when things start to take a turn. It happened, was that with Geen last week, too, when he was by himself.
After the parents leave, things get crazy.
Yeah, while the cat's away, the mice will play.
In a very bad way.
Well, yeah, this is a little bit different.
Don't lose your coffee.
Chris is on a roll tonight. Anyways, continue on forward.
Dahmer's parents' divorce was finalized in July of 1978. Joyce was awarded custody of their younger son, David, and was ordered and received alimony payments. This is going to lead into his early years now, the 20s.
Okay, so he's out of high school and stuff. And
Yep.
Okay.
He's on his own now, has the house and bath to himself, everything. This is going to lead into the very first murder victim, Stephen Hicks. And this is going to be the first murder and very graphic.
Okay, so trigger warning.
Trigger warning. Dahmer committed his first murder in 78, just 3 weeks after graduating high school in 2018. On June 18th, Jeffrey Dahmer picked up a hitchhiker named Stephen Mark Hicks. He was just 18 years old. Hicks was on his way to a concert at Chippewa Lake Park. We just went there last week.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, you got some pretty good pictures, too. We took a ride over there.
I do. I'll be posting those later. Hicks agreed to accompany Dahmer to his house upon the promise of a few beers with him, because he had the house to himself. According to Dahmer, the sight of the bare-chested Hicks standing on the roadside stirred his sexual feelings. Although, when Hicks began talking about girls, he knew any passes he made would be revoked. After several hours of talking and drinking and listening to music, Hicks wanted to leave. Dahmer didn't want him to leave, so he hit him on the head with a 10-pound dumbbell. He later stated he struck Hicks twice from behind with the dumbbell as Hicks sat upon a chair. When Hicks fell unconscious, Dahmer strangled him to death with the bar of the dumbbell, then stripped the clothes from his body before exploring his chest with his hands. He then masturbated as he stood above the corpse.
That may be a sign of a slight problem there.
Oh, yeah,
Just a
maybe
tiny one.
Having abandonment issues to the point where you're killing people. Get them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's putting it pretty good.
And they're still leaving you. They're just not physically.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. That you really brought up a good point there real fast. That is true because that happens with a lot of killers too. They don't want to lose you, but then they end up killing you, and that's so true. That you just literally, when you said that makes absolute sense. Like, why? Because then they're leaving you.
Right.
So that's what I don't understand is what's going on in their mind. To think that, well, I don't want to lose this person. You can't leave, so I'm going to, murder them. But you're defeating the whole purpose.
Right.
They're leaving you.
Yeah. The person is their.
Yeah.
It's their personality. It's their.
Yeah. Yeah. Physically, they're still there, body and all, but they're not going to be there with you mentally.
Right. You might as well get a collection of mannequins that makes you feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. J.C. Penney's probably got a sale on them
That's
things.
what I'm saying.
They're still even around. I don't know. I just remember trying to touch the legs on them when I was a kid. But anyways, go ahead.
Believe it or not, he did end up stealing a mannequin like a few years down the road
There's
after this.
4.
4?
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. Classroom Jackie's lost her shit now. She's confused because Jeffrey and I share 4 things. Anyways.
So he masturbated above the corpse.
I did not do that.
And stood there. Hours later, so after he's done everything and he's just been in the room staring at the corpse, he moved it to the basement. The following day, Dahmer dissected Hicks' body in the basement. He later buried the remains in a shallow grave in the backyard of that house. Several weeks later, he unearthed the remains and hard, or is it paired? When you take the flesh off,
It'll be a paring.
Yeah, paring knife, yeah.
So he didn't use a paring knife to do this.
It'll be like taking the skin off of a bear.
But he pared the flesh from the bones He then dissolved the flesh in acid before flushing the solution down the toilet. He later crushed the bones with a sledgehammer and scattered them in the woodlands behind the family home. He threw Hicks's necklace and the knife that he used to dismember him into the West Bath Road Bridge into the Cuyahoga River. 6 weeks after the murder of Hicks, Dahmer's father and his new fiancée came home and returned to the house and discovered that Jeffrey had been living alone. So at the time when his mom had left and he had that house to himself, his dad was somewhere else and started dating again.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the mom has been out of the picture for a while now then.
Yeah. So
Divorced and all that, yeah.
after the last part when I mentioned when she moved out, I did not see anything else until after he died. So she wasn't involved.
Yeah, she just kind of like fell off the earth there for which was probably for the good for her. I mean,
Probably.
honestly, not to get caught up in this mess because I know his dad got caught up in a lot of it.
Yes, he did. When they discovered that he was living alone, and they came back, that August, Dahmer enrolled at the Ohio State University, hoping to major in business.
OH.
I.O. Dahmer's sole term at OSU was completely unproductive, largely because of his persistent alcohol problem. He received failing grades in Introduction to Anthropology, Plastic Civilization, and Administrative Science. The only course that he was successful at was riflery, where he received a B- grade. His overall GPA was 0.45 out of 4.0. Riflery? Shooting? Yeah.
I wish I
Yeah, they still did stuff like that. What did you say his GPA was?
0.45.
0. I've never heard anybody. I feel pretty good about myself now because I thought my GPA was crap.
My lowest was 1.32.
Oh,
I wouldn't admit that on the show. That was a joke. She didn't really mean that, guys.
No, I really hated school for a long time.
Okay, David, can you attest to that? Please type in the chat if you can.
But I did end up graduating, and I had like a 3.35 by the time I graduated.
Okay.
So I'm not dumb. I just hated school.
I was the same way, and I was never a good test person too. You know, especially multiple choice. They always say go with your gut and all that in your first, and I never would, and then it would always end up being that. You having a hard time with that earphone
It won't
over there?
stay in my ear.
She can't get it to stay in her ear. I don't know. David, you're gonna have to help us, man. She's a mess. So
You can attest I've always been a mess.
yeah, well, we know she's not your favorite daughter anymore now, but
That-
anyways.
As of today, I am because my sister screwed up.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess she's back in the top then, the top tier. Okay.
I am.
All right, good.
So he ended up flunking out of OSU. His father ended up pushing him into going to the Army. In 1979, he did join, and he was sent to basic training at Fort McClellan in Anniston, Alabama, before training as a medical specialist at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas. He was occasionally reprimanded for intoxication while stationed at Fort Sam.
That's crazy facts. We could probably mention that here in a little bit.
That was from David.
Yeah. David sent us in a pretty cool text, but we'll get to that.
On one occasion, an instance of insubordination resulted in Dahmer's entire platoon beat his ass. No easy way to say it. They kicked the crap out of him when his whole entire platoon got punished for his behavior with the alcohol.
I can believe that.
On July 13th, 1979, Dahmer was deployed to West Germany, where he served as a combat medic in the 2nd Battalion, 68th Armored Regiment, 8th Infantry. According to published reports, Dahmer's first year of service he was an average or slightly above average soldier. Owing to Dahmer's alcohol abuse, his performance deteriorated, and he ended up getting a honorable discharge in March of 1981. When he came back to the States on March 24th, he went to Miami, Florida, because he didn't want to go back home and didn't want to deal with the cold. He was tired of it.
Like most people that leave this state.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, here we come, right?
Or the Outer Banks.
Outer Banks, yeah, true.
While living in Florida, he got a job at a delicatessen and rented a room in a nearby motel. He spent most of his money on alcohol and soon got evicted from living there because of the non-payment. He initially spent his evenings on the beach and continued to work at a sandwich shop until he phoned his father in September of 1981 to return home.
Yeah, he did a lot of drinking when he was in, service. That's crazy.
To get you kicked out of the Army for
Yeah,
that, too.
that takes a lot from what I hear. I mean, but yeah, to drink that much to get you kicked out.
Especially back then.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they were probably more lenient. Or maybe not.
Well, I don't know because, well, yeah, it's true. That was in 79. So, yeah, I think they were probably more strict then because that was when drafts and all that were still going on and, crazy wars and stuff. I mean, we have wars now, but things were a lot different. So
That's true. When it comes to school, though, like now, you get caught drinking back in school, in high school, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I mean, they would get kicked out of school immediately now. I mean,
well, yeah. Now you're probably getting expelled.
Well, back then, when he did get caught drinking on school property, having a couple beers 2 weeks before graduation, and a teacher threatened to tell him, report him, and he looks at her and said, "My guidance counselor already knows everything I have going on at home, and I have a problem, and they don't care."
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Whether or not that was true, though, if the guidance counselor knew.
I don't know if the guidance counselor knew. All I know is he told the teacher that, and he didn't get kicked out of school.
Didn't get kicked out, yeah, just
he got to
continued
graduate.
on. Yeah, you can't use that line now.
No,
it's not going to work,
get in so much trouble.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get it back to where he came back to Ohio and the start of where he really turns into the murder.
Now he's returning to Ohio and then going to relocate.
Yep.
Okay. Come on back, Dahmer.
After he returned home, he ended up living with his father and stepmother. His father and stepmother.
A stepmother. She going to make me some cookies, mother?
He insisted on being given numerous chores to occupy his time while he looked for work. He did still continue to drink heavily, and after 2 weeks, he was arrested for drunk and disorderly conduct. He was fined $60 and given a suspended 10-day jail sentence because of his behavior and apologizing pretty much. Dahmer's father did try to wean him off of the alcohol, but was unsuccessful. In 1981, they sent him to his grandmother, Catherine Dahmer, in West Allis.
West Allis was outside of Milwaukee.
Yeah.
It was a suburb of Milwaukee.
Okay, up to West Allis, as she was the only family member to whom Dahmer displayed any positivity or affection. They hoped that with her influence and the change of location, he would eventually find a job and be responsible.
That's a lot, too, for, grandma to take on. The dad's just like, well, here's my shit I can't deal with. Granny, go ahead. Or his mom, I would take it, right? The dad's mom. So, yeah, here, Ma, you can have my messed up son now, and you can deal with him. That's crazy. That had to have been, mentally fucked up for her.
It's like saying, "Mom, you raised me great. I failed at raising my son. Can you fix him?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it turned out okay, but I can't.
Yeah, here you can take my gay son that likes to use and
decapitate animals.
Yeah.
And I don't think that she did not know that he had a sexual preference.
No.
That's right.
She didn't know until after he stole a mannequin.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, he took
yeah.
it from the store, and then she found the mannequin was in his bed or something.
It was in a closet in his room.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, and she was cleaning up or something, putting away the clothes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. While living with his grandmother, he did work pretty hard. He would do chores, accompany her to the store, take her to church. Every single day, he was constantly busy from the moment he woke up till he went to bed. He did willingly persist with the house rules and follow them. He did find employment in 1982 as a phlebotomist.
But he could still get that job with having 0.4 GPA, and he could. Oh, that's scary. Well, he couldn't get that job now.
I think we've come a long way on our requirements.
Yeah, requirement be breathing is what it was back then.
Maybe pick apples or something.
You have to remember he was a combat medic when he was in the Army. He went for medical. We promise he's not dying, guys.
Go ahead.
He was a medical specialist in the Army that he trained for. So he was able to get the job as a phlebotomist at a Milwaukee hospital.
There, classroom Jackie's been flipped the bird.
I think that was you.
It very well could have been me.
I think that was you. Anywho,
Redirect.
he ended up working at the Milwaukee Blood Plasma Center. He held the job for a total of 10 months before being laid off. He ended up remaining unemployed for 2 years, during which he lived upon whatever money his grandmother would give him. Shortly before losing his job, Dahmer was arrested for indecent exposure on August 8, 1982 at a Wisconsin State Fair Park. He was observed exposing himself on the south side of the Coliseum, in which 25 people were present, including women and children. For this incident, he was convicted and fined $50 plus court costs.
Oh, that's it. That'd be a lot more today.
Yeah, $50 back then.
Well, yeah, that's true. I forget that. Yeah, $50 is a lot of money then.
In 1985, in January, he was hired as a mixer at the Milwaukee Ambrosia Chocolate Factory, where he worked from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. 6 nights per week, with Saturday evenings off. Shortly after he started this job, he started getting pretty much hit up to perform acts with one person that he worked.
Oh,
A male coworker would send him notes.
gotcha.
Constantly.
We know where that's going.
Yes, he was being propositioned.
Okay.
The incidents did stir feelings of fantasy and control for him, and the dominance that he had developed as a teenager and kind of managed to push away for a while. At the time of those, he did familiarize himself with all of the gay bars, bathhouses, and bookstores around the area.
I wonder if they have a lot of those, like the gay bars out there. And,
You were just
Wisconsin.
in Michigan, that's nearby.
Not that close. I mean, it's on the other side of a massive lake.
I should ask my friend who lived in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Chris?
I think Grand Rapids is a different town than Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Although, my understanding from looking at his history and that information, there were quite a few places that he frequented, but a lot of them were very dimly lit. Which I was going to bring up earlier. A couple of theories and that kind of thing. One of which is routine activities theory. It's a criminological. This theory explains crime is like a convergence of a motivated offender, a target, and the absence of capable guardian. Now, when we talk about guardians, we're not talking about parents. We're talking about people that are going to intervene or do something about this, such as police. He targeted vulnerable young guys. He was preying on isolated guys in a gay community. So he was operating and targeting these guys in a setting in which there was very little oversight. So nobody was paying attention to this. I mean, for the longest time, it was like kill a hooker on the street. Nobody was paying attention to that. They call it street justice.
Okay.
It wasn't really. The cops weren't dropping what they were doing to go out and solve the crime because the gay kid got killed.
That's sad.
And it is. It's just but that way, the way it was back then, they weren't viewing these people as human beings. They were viewing them as sexual deviants, and due to the fact that they were different from what they believed should be the norm.
Yeah.
Were.
So they were kind of, I bet some of the police were kind of frowned upon.
Yeah.
Then, too, at that time, kind of like how, police have a bad rap, today's society, too. Some people get that way. So
Yeah, you kind of feel like sometimes in some situations they're ignoring demographic.
Yeah.
Just because of their own beliefs.
Well,
which is unfortunate because they should be nonviolent.
Yeah. Definitely agreed. Go ahead.
So how you said that places didn't seem to be paying attention to this, or when he went to the dimly lit ones, he did end up getting kicked out of one of the bathhouses that he frequented in 1985 because he was using sedatives and drugging people, and he was getting caught right there in the bathhouse.
Oh, so he must have not been very discreet about it then. even with it not being well lit.
Well, even
Yeah.
if you're already attending a social setting in which it is acceptable to actually meet people for the purpose of having sexual relations, that's not good enough that you feel as if you have to actually drug others in order to achieve that power,
Yeah.
over them.
Yeah.
It was caught after 12 instances, but it still took 12 times
12 times.
for him to get caught and kicked out. That's a lot.
Well, and from my understanding, I think part of it too, the way he wanted to do what he wanted to do to people. He did not want them to request favors and request him to do things for them. He just wanted what he wanted.
Yeah, it's pretty much you're gonna do what I want. You don't really have a say.
Yeah, right.
This
I
is
don't care
how
what
it's
you
gonna
want.
be. Yeah.
Now, in September of 1986, Dahmer was arrested on a charge of lewd and lascivious behavior. This would have landed him on a sex offender registry today if he was still alive.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For masturbating in the presence of two 12-year-old boys as he stood close to the Kinnikinnick. I don't know how to say
We'll
this
go
river.
with
What was it, a river?
Oh
river.
yeah, the river.
Kinnikinnick.
That is a long word.
It
Yeah.
repeats itself.
Yeah, why don't we just say the river?
The river, yeah.
By standing close to the river. He initially claimed he had merely been urinating, unaware that there were witnesses, but soon admitted to the offense. That charge ended up being changed to disorderly conduct on March 10th, 1987.
So how do you I don't understand. How does he think he's gonna get away with that? I was peeing, but yet I'm
Winking
playing
it.
with I'm did you say winking it?
Winking.
Wanking. David, please help, man. I don't know where she comes up with these words, but you're wanking it, and then, but yet you're gonna tell police that you're peeing. But okay, then carry on.
In November of 1987, Dahmer was still living with his grandmother. At this time, he encountered a 25-year-old man from Michigan. We're just going to go Michigan. Forget saying these cities. His name was Stephen Tiomi. This is his first exceptionally graphic bathtub,
Okay,
everything.
trigger warning type deal.
Again.
Okay.
Yeah. He encountered him at a bar and persuaded him to return to the Ambassador Hotel where he had rented a room for the night. According to Dahmer, he had no intention of killing Tiomi, but intended to simply drug him and lie beside him and explore his body. The following morning, Dahmer awoke to find him lying beneath him on the bed, his chest crushed in and black and blue with bruises. Blood was seeping from the corner of his mouth, and Dahmer's fists and forearm were extensively covered. Dahmer later said he had no memory of having killed him, and that he could not believe this had happened.
So that kind of goes back to the blackout, moments we talked about last week and previous weeks, where they get to that point where they black out and don't really know what's happening, which is crazy. Or was he drunk, or
did he take one of the sleeping
or
pills
did
as
he
well?
take one of the sleeping pills? Yeah, it's one of those.
Dahmer purchased a large suitcase in which he transported Tiomi's body to his grandmother's residence. 1 week later, he severed the head, arms, and legs. He then filleted the bones from the body after cutting the flesh into pieces small enough to hit. Dahmer placed the flesh inside plastic garbage bags. He wrapped the bones inside a sheet and pounded them into splinters with a sledgehammer. The dismemberment process took Dahmer approximately 2 hours. He disposed of all of Tiomi's remains, excluding the head, into the trash. For 2 weeks following the killing, Dahmer retained his head wrapped in a blanket. After those 2 weeks, he boiled the head in a mixture of Solax and alkali-based industrial detergent and bleach in an effort to retain the skull, which he then used as stimulus for masturbation.
He's got a lot of fantasies with using this stuff while he's doing that. I noticed that trend here.
He bleached the skull multiple times after masturbating into it.
Oh my gosh.
He disposed of it because it became too brittle by all the bleach.
Jeez.
He pulverized and disposed it, and they just got rid of it like trash. He killed a guy and just throws him away like trash.
Jeez, oh man. Yeah, all right, well, I'm done. Go ahead and throw that in the trash can. Let the trash guys deal with it, right?
According to Dahmer, Tiomi's murder was a pivotal incident after which he did not try to control his compulsions anymore. He would drug his victims with triazolone and temazepam before or shortly after engaging in sexual activity with them. Once his victims were unconscious, he would strangle them to death. 2 months after the Tiomi murder, he encountered, this is a 14-year-old now, this is the youngest one of his.
Okay.
He was a Native American prostitute named James Tater. I am butchering
Tater?
that. I am butchering that
Tater
so
chip.
badly, and I apologize.
Tater chip.
I'm good.
No. We are going to butcher names, those guys, so just stay with us.
We're sorry, guys.
Yeah, we're sorry. We are human, all right?
Once again, this is a
Yeah, yeah. Which it's not supposed to be. It takes the fun out of that.
Dahmer lured him to his grandmother's residence with an offer of $50 to pose nude for pictures. They engaged in sexual activity before Dahmer drugged him and strangled him on the floor of the cellar. Dahmer left the body in the basement for 1 week before dismembering it in much the same manner as Tiomi. On May 14, 1990, Dahmer moved out of his grandmother's house and into 924 North 25th Street, apartment 213. This is going to be the bulk of where everything happened.
Yeah, apartment 213.
He took Sears, one of his other victims, mummified heads and genitals with him to this house. His last name was Sears. I don't know what happened. There's no mention of Sears' murder.
He just took his balls with him to the new apartment and his head. I'm not sure. I got all my things packed up. Don't forget that head and set of balls over there.
Doesn't really matter.
No. All right.
We apologize to anyone listening. With this area, surprisingly, it was a high-profile, high-crime area. His apartment was close to his new workplace, and it was furnished at just $300 a month, inclusive of all bills, excluding electricity. Within 1 week of his moving to this address, Dahmer killed his sixth victim, Raymond Smith. Was a 32-year-old prostitute who Dahmer lured to his apartment with the promise of $50 for sex. Inside the apartment, he gave Smith a drink laced with 7 sleeping pills, then manually strangled. The following day, Dahmer went out and purchased a Polaroid camera to use solely for the pictures of posing the body and for remembering all of the dismemberments he did.
Yeah, and back then it's not like he's going to get caught when they take him to trial. Not like they can go and look at security camera footage like we had talked about before. Receipts, go back and look at all that stuff. So you can get away with that.
Yeah, it was still the Wild West back then.
Yeah.
He used those pictures to Polaroid to pose him in suggestive, gross movements, pretty much, for this guy. Before he dismembered him in the bathroom, he boiled the legs, arms, and pelvis in a steel kettle with Solax, which allowed him to rinse the bones in his sink. Dahmer dissolved the remainder of Smith's skeleton, excluding the skull, in a container filled with acid. He later spray painted the skull, which he placed alongside the skull of Sears, upon a black towel inside a filing cabinet.
It's like a lot of work. I mean, it just all this stuff.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a lot of work. I mean, you really went above and beyond. And I guess down the road, and they looked at it as being like a premeditated thing. Like you really went out of your way to sit there and consider how you're going to get rid of these.
Yeah.
And do it in a fashion that would keep you out of trouble.
Yeah, that's true. They put a lot of thought into it, and then it's a lot of work too.
Yeah.
And then in the end, be caught. But I guess during the whole thing, they're not thinking about that. They're just trying to kind of hide everything, and so yeah. I mean, I guess when you're in that the fight or flight mode,
Right. Well, I think if it wasn't for the love for the bodies, post-mortem and that sort of thing, it probably would have gone a lot differently. And he probably would have thrown one out of the car driving down a dark highway instead of trying to boil it in the kitchen.
Yeah, he went above and beyond, not like most of them were when they end up killing their victim. They kind of either just dispose of them or bury them or whatever. They don't. He went above and beyond, and kind of got more in depth to it, like you said, because he had that love, that passion for the bones and the body.
Approximately 1 week after the murder of Smith, on or around May 27th, Dahmer lured another young man to his apartment, wanting sex. Unfortunately, he got robbed.
Yep, I remember this one.
The gentleman stole 7 pieces of clothes and $300 in a watch.
I bet Dahmer was pissed.
He never reported the incident to police,
Well, of course not.
but a couple weeks later, when he had a parole meeting because of that charge of the disorderly conduct, he admitted to the police officer that he had been robbed.
Yeah, let's wait a while and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, right.
You know?
He stole my skulls and my paring.
Yeah. He stole the ball sack I had hidden too.
I probably would have, made an effort to not report it, just to keep my distance.
He's really lucky that the guy who robbed him didn't just go to police and be like, I found this.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to see some things, right?
Oh, I'm sure. But if you remember too, though, he had a lot of it stored in that drum in the living room, you know?
Who keeps a drum?
Well, yeah, who keeps a 55-gallon steel drum in the living room?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know.
Make you think. Like,
Yeah. Maybe that was all scotch. I don't know.
In 1990, Dahmer lured a 27-year-old acquaintance, Edward Smith, to his apartment, where he drugged and strangled him. On this occasion, rather than immediately acidifying the skeleton or repeating previous processes of bleaching, which he had used to render victims, as brittle, he placed the skeleton in his freezer for 7 months, in the hope it would not retain moisture. Freezing the skeleton did not remove moisture, and the skeleton of his victim was acidified later on. Dahmer accidentally destroyed the skull when he placed it in the oven to dry it out, and it caused it to explode. So,
wow.
Explode a skull all in your oven.
Oh,
You're not going to eat anything
Yeah.
ever again.
Did those ovens back then have that cleaning mode where you lock it and let it run and heat up?
They made no broil setting.
Broil setting. Hang on a minute, I gotta self-clean it.
Well, once again, we make light of this stuff, and we joke for the sake of joking on the podcast. At the end of the day, this was a very sick and disgusting human being, and in no way, shape, or form are we trying to glorify this in any way. This guy was disgusting.
Yeah, all these people that we do discuss, definitely. We make, joke occasionally and stuff, but that's, like Chris said, for the sake of the show, so hopefully nobody takes any, offense to that.
The families that it affected and that sort of thing, like nothing but, the deepest condolences for having to handle it, deal with this.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine what they went through,
And like you guys said, we're doing this for educational and for something that we like, that we find interesting.
Yeah.
Not to glorify or praise or encourage anybody to ever do these things.
No, we all enjoy studying this, and we get into this, and I don't know. Some people do and some people don't. It takes a rare breed of a person that just likes to kind of, I don't know, to me, I always like trying to get into the mind of serial killers and stuff. That's one of the main reasons why I started this show, because there's a lot of people out there that share that a lot more than what we think or know. So yeah, definitely.
That's why I enjoyed what I did in college. It's not seeing this stuff. It's not viewing this stuff. As a matter of fact, a period of time, like I just got so disgusted with it that I stopped watching the news or reading anything. I just totally stayed away from all of it because it has an effect on me in a negative way.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you turn on the news a lot today, So, all right, go ahead.
Dahmer did eventually say that he felt rotten for the Smith's killing and admitted that he didn't feel good about the way that he disposed of him or anything like that.
And I don't think he felt good about any of it. Honestly, what he had to do and what he went through. Even when they talked to him, I don't think he understood half of what he did. And I think they asked him even at one point, hey, I think you probably would have liked an explanation for somebody to come and tell him why he was the way he was.
Yeah, there was interview with him that I've seen before when they were talking to him in prison, and they were telling him all these names and stuff, and he just said, I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. He goes, that may have, happened, but I remember that, interview. I'll have to try to find it. But yeah, he doesn't remember a lot of them, and I think he was blacked out during a lot of them. I truly do believe, because there's times where I say like, oh, they're using that as an excuse, blah, blah, blah. But I truly do believe with Dahmer, and it doesn't make it right at all, that he was not, there coherent mentally for a lot of these.
No.
Right.
Because he was so, he was hooked on, I need this, I want this male, I want to get in there and study it, and the bones and the body and skulls and stuff, that I believe that he just got to that point where he got so worked up, he just, blacked out per se.
He had that
with
whole
it.
scientific side, the one of pleasure, but also the need for, I need somebody here with me, because he didn't get that with his family.
Yeah.
Exactly why he would keep those pieces is because he needed that contact, even if it was a skull.
Well, and yeah, he wanted power over them. That's a big part of why he got trophies.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was kind of proud of some of it, and that's why he kept like the skulls and the remains and stuff like that, because he was like, he really liked it, and it was like to the point where he was going to get what he wanted, no matter what he had to do to get it.
Now, later on, there's going to be a post in our fan group for anybody who wants to see these pictures, as I can't post them on our main socials due to they'll take them away. The next murder is where he stored him in the chest freezer. And there's pictures of the police removing that from the apartment.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one.
3 months after he murdered Smith, Dahmer encountered a 22-year-old Chicago native named Ernest Miller outside of a bookstore on the corner of North 27th Street. Miller agreed to accompany Dahmer to his apartment for $50 and further agreed to let him listen to his heart and stomach. When Dahmer attempted to perform oral sex, he was informed that'll cost you extra, whereupon Dahmer gave Miller a drink laced with 2 sleeping pills. On this occasion, he only had 2 of those pills to give Miller. Therefore, he killed him by slashing his carotid artery. Within minutes, Miller bled out and died. Dahmer then posed the nude body for various suggestive Polaroid photographs before placing it in his bathtub for dismemberment. Dahmer repeatedly kissed and talked to the severed head while he dismembered the remainder of the body. Dahmer wrapped Miller's heart, liver, biceps, and portions of flesh from the legs in plastic bags and placed them in the freezer for later consumption. This is where he starts eating the flesh. He boiled the remaining flesh and organs into a jelly-like substance using Solax, which enabled him to rinse the rest of the bones and preserve them. He ended up putting them in a light bleach solution for 24 hours before allowing them to dry upon a cloth for 1 week in front of the sun. The severed head was initially replaced in the refrigerator before being stripped of flesh, then painted and coated with a nail. 3 weeks after that murder, on September 24th, Dahmer encountered a 22-year-old father of 2 named David Thomas at the Grand Avenue Mall. He persuaded him to return to his apartment for a few drinks, with additional money on offer if he would post photographs. He did end up killing him, but did not retain the body whatsoever, as he didn't find him attractive.
He used an awful lot of bleach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, throughout all of these, what did he have, stock in bleach, or I don't know.
Oh, yeah. It kind of makes you wonder if did he go to like the store, or was he buying this from the same place?
Yeah.
Nowadays, I think they'd be set off by that. They'd be like, hey, whoa, this guy like has either got some extremely white clothes, or he's doing something that he's not supposed to be doing.
Yeah, this guy's bought 8, gallons of bleach in the last 3 days. Something's going on. Yeah, that's crazy. I just noticed it. I was just processing that. Yeah, you used an awful, especially what he did with the head too of that one victim. Kept bleaching it over and over again. That's a lot.
That was one of his first kills. It's the 1989 murder.
Yeah.
After that murder in September, we moved into 91 in February. So he took a few months off before he decided he needed to do it again. This time he was approached by Curtis Strotter, who was 17 years old, as he waited as a bus stop near Marquette University. Dahmer lured him to his apartment, where he drugged, handcuffed, and strangled him before dismembering his body in the bathtub. He kept his skull, hands, and genitals. The next one was in April. Errol Lindsay, who was 19. The first victim upon whom Dahmer practiced what he later described to the investigators as drilling technique. He drilled holes into the victim's skull, through which he injected hydrochloric acid into the brain to melt.
Well, he's going to a lot of extremes. That's for sure. Like you were saying, Chris. I mean, just a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you think about it, everyone. If you take the human body and then what he's doing is pretty much taking out all the insides. I mean, just think about how, besides disgusting and gross, how messy that's got to be. I mean, and I don't really ever hear anything about, like, he's obviously doing this in his living room or in his apartment, I would imagine. So it's like,
Right.
Is this getting all over everything, or, is he tarping everything off, or plastic, or, I mean, you don't hear any mentions of that. And it's like, this is it's just insane.
And it's in an apartment. I mean, I used to bitch when my neighbors used to do ridiculous crap, or they turn up their TV too loud. Like, I mean, this guy was using like saws and hammers, and sledgehammers, crushing bones, and boiling things. I mean, I don't know what the hell Solax is or anything like that.
It was an alkali-based
I don't care. It doesn't matter. What matters is, like, that boiling that with body parts and bleach can't make your apartment smell.
No.
So, like, you got to have neighbors that have got to be raising their hands all over the place, saying there is, like, some serious wicked shit going down.
The neighbors did report that there was an awful smell always coming from that apartment.
I remember that. The one neighbor that he had used to complain about it all the time. Yeah.
It was a big lady who lived next door.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's just like, that's wild, man. And I couldn't even imagine how bad that place had to smell. When finally police went in there and found everything, that goes back to what we were talking about with Geen last week. I can't even imagine what they saw, experienced, smelled. My gosh.
We can't cover every single one of the victims, sadly, because there was a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of, victims, and unfortunately we only have a certain amount of time here. But, what we like to do is we like to try to paint that, picture for you guys, the fans, viewers, listeners. And that's what we try to do. And everybody knows Dahmer. He's a huge case, serial killer, all that stuff too. Kind of wrapping it up there. I know that he was then later murdered in prison.
He was.
I remember correctly.
His very last murder was July 19th of 1991, and he was caught 4 days later on the 22nd and arrested.
Yeah.
And then he was caught by who would have been one of his victims. Went and reported to police.
Yeah, and that was when they finally got in there, and yeah, I remember that. And that was when they found the drum and opened it up. So yeah, this whole case, I mean, out of all these killers that we do cover and will cover, this is probably one of the first. I mean, okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you, as far as like just crazy messed up? I know last week Geen, I voted him a 10 because he did some wild shit. I mean, he was on a completely different scale. Dahmer, I vote him up there as a 10 as well.
I'm gonna have to say a 9.
A 9?
A 9.
Please do explain.
He kept the skulls. He kept some of the genitals. He did not go and mutilate dead bodies or take the skin and wear it. Yes, he masturbated to a skull or two, but he kept the skulls. He didn't keep the flesh. He didn't keep.
He was eating it.
He was eating it, but he wasn't wearing it.
And that's a 9.
That's a 9.
What's a 10 for you?
Ed Gein is a 10.
Yeah, but Geen wasn't eating nothing.
But Geen was taking the skin, canning it, using it for furniture and decorative things in his house, and making a woman's suit to wear
So,
because he wanted to be a woman.
But Dahmer kept body parts in a 55-gallon steel drum in his living room like you're watching frickin' television and go get my beer off that steel drum in the corner. Don't open it, though.
You can't tell me Dahmer's not as bad because he didn't have sewing skills.
Yeah,
But
maybe he didn't take home ec in school. I don't know.
But we can't rate every one of the killers a 10. Like, who's a 5 for you?
Well, these two guys, I mean, obviously we did them early on in this podcast, I mean, for a reason. These guys are absurd.
Up there. Yeah, they're definitely up there.
I'll give him a 9.5.
Okay,
a half a point.
Chris, what are you going to rate him at?
Oh, I'm with you. I mean, he's
a 10.
Yeah,
absolutely. And there's going to be some that I'm going to rate lower than that, for sure. I mean, the Texas Killing Field one, that's such a broad thing. We don't even know. I'm going to rate that. But that's nothing intense. Yes, they killed people. That's sad. But they threw them into a field. I mean, how many other serial killers do that kind of stuff? A lake, a field. So I rate Texas Killing Fields at like a 4 myself. I mean,
that's
there's
low.
a lot of people lost. The girl in the leaves, that guy was messed up. I rate him more like a 7, or so.
I can agree with that.
But yeah, so anybody that's new to the show, listening, viewing, every week we're trying to do this where we rate these killers, kind of like the whole messed up scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the least amount of messed up, even though they technically are all messed up because of what they've done, and then 10 being the worst. And it looks like we have somebody in the chat here leaving a lot of comments here.
We'd love to know what everybody thinks they should rate. Join in on where they rate.
Maybe that could be something that we could do too now on the fan page or
like
the Facebook
poll.
group. Like a poll. Like, what do you rate each week when we cover these? But so it looks like a fun fact about Dahmer: the majority of the professionals who examined him decided that he was not a psychopath. And then it's a debatable topic. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is. If you think about Dahmer's inner drive and motivation of these murders, abandonment, his upbringing, his lack of charm. Yeah, I mean, it's true. We could go on for hours about this guy. I mean, but he was studied by professionals, and for some reason, I guess they didn't see he was fit to be called that, psychopath.
They did do an autopsy after he was murdered and studied his brain. Other than the damage that he had from the beating that he took from his fellow inmate that did kill him in 94, they did find marks of serious brain injury to him, from what I was reading earlier.
Oh, well, I did not, know that. That could have played a factor into a lot of this, and that could have caused when he was blacking out too.
Or like
during a lot of these. I don't know.
After his hernia surgery, he became a completely different person and withdrawn and not as happy and energetic. Maybe anesthesia, things like that could have damaged him.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so anyways, we can't cover all of his victims, but we do feel deeply bad for any families of these victims over the years. I know Dahmer's dad just recently passed away too, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it a while back?
I believe.
I know we were talking about it, but anyways, thank you for listening on another week here, Murder Show. We do appreciate it. If you guys can please do share us, get us out there. Subscribes are going up on our channel here. We're at 27, which is great. Okay, a few years back, his dad passed away.
December 23.
But yeah, definitely get out there. We have our Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff. You guys are great. David, thank you for being the #1 fan. We do appreciate it. And stay tuned for what next week's show is going to be, about. Keep an eye out on there. And don't forget, we are on all major streaming platforms. So go out there, Spotify, iHeart, any of those. Check us out. Other than that, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great week next week. And we will talk to you guys all next Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Same time, place, same crime time.